The 21st of February 2006, the Securitas depot in Tonbridge, Kent. Staff were partway through the evening shift, sorting money.
Business works very, very fast nowadays, and they need to get rid of the cash they've taken within their businesses, and they need to be resupplied. And this is the business that this cash house is involved in. It's basically the counting of money that's taken by banks, building societies and other commercial businesses, crediting that to their accounts, and also examining those notes to see which ones are worthy to go back out on the street or which need to be returned to the Bank of England.
The depot worked around the clock, processing huge amounts of cash.
Sitting in the vault, you would have around £200 million. It came in from large organisations that took large amounts of money.
Shift manager Alan Thomas and his night team were sorting through the piles of cash, little knowing that the next hour would change their lives.
It was a perfectly normal night. Main job at night was to process the notes and then bag it up. Things changed about 1 o'clock in the morning. I was at my desk. That's when I saw Colin from where the main entrance was walking down with what I thought were policemen.
Seeing a police officer, they were duped into believing that there was a problem. Seeing their manager, who was standing there, they didn't know what had happened.
It was very unusual for Alan's boss, Colin, to come back to the depot so late.
I'd never seen Colin in at that time of night before. He just came in, he looked at me and said, "I'm sorry, Alan." And I thought, what's he sorry for?
Alan's confusion quickly turned to terror.
But then one of the guys who were with him, who I thought were policemen, pointed a gun in my face and started screaming at me to get down, get down.
Don't look up.
And I knew it wasn't a normal night.
Don't look at my face and stay where you are.
They got cable ties out and started tightening our hands together, and they tightened pretty tight. Only when you're lying down and they've tied you up and you've got time to think and you realise what's happening. He's standing there, you know, waving a gun at you, and you can't do anything about it. You start thinking, am I going to go home tonight?
The situation worsened as, unbeknownst to Alan, the rest of the gang entered the depot, holding the night team at gunpoint.
So they've seized all the staff, they herd them into one room, make them lie on their fronts, and then start to restrain them with cable ties. And some of these people are bound quite tightly. Put yourself in that position, you are bound, you are in a place that has a lot of money in it, you know what's in that, you have these people committing what is believed to be the impossible. They were terrified.
Within seconds, the gang of 7 had entered the allegedly impenetrable depot. The building was protected by high steel fences, security cameras, airlock doors and alarms. But the thieves had overcome all these. Now the staff feared for their lives. The gang had walked through the front door, pounced on staff sorting money in the deposit processing room, and dragged everyone to an area next to the vault. And these thugs clearly meant business.
They've got a Scorpion machine pistol, an AK-47 assault rifle, Remington pump-action shotgun, and at least one handgun. Added to that, they've got ballistic vests on, which tends to suggest they were prepared, maybe to experience a shootout. Otherwise, why wear a ballistic vest?
Held against their will, the staff had no choice but to comply.
And when they got everybody gathered, then they started asking who's got the keys to the vault.
The armed robbers had a specific plan. Although millions of pounds were counted outside the vault, this wasn't their target. They'd come for something much bigger. Adjacent to the customer deposit room where the cash was sorted was the depot's high-security vault.
No one person could open it. Everybody only had one type of key, and you needed a top key holder and a bottom key holder to open it. When they were locked, like over the weekend and so forth, they were all on time locks. Real high-tech security. Once you opened the doors to the vault, you had more metal grills to go through as well. I thought it was, you know, somebody just answered to Fort Knox.
The company handled colossal sums of money, up to £250 million at a time. And now the gang had it in their sights. Keys to the vault were normally held by 2 members of staff, but just weeks earlier, Colin Dixon had given himself sole control.
I hope that they don't say to me, give me your key, because I'm going to have to say I haven't got it. Then they might think that you're playing them around. Lucky enough, Colin was able to go and get the keys. Then they opened the vault. We were all tied up just outside. You know, you could hear them going into the vault.
Rows of cages packed with bundles of notes lay before the gang. But as they were about to rush in, something stopped them in their tracks.
They realised that they couldn't get the money out without use of a forklift, so they had to ask for volunteers.
The money's stored in various ways, which I won't go into for security reasons, but some of it can be wheeled and some of it has to be lifted. So they force one of the members of staff to operate a handheld forklift truck, and they make him go into the vault, lift money up and load it onto the back of the lorry. He does what he's told. He can see what's going on. His manager is clearly under duress. It's clear this nightmare is unfolding before his very eyes.
Waiting in one of the loading bays was a 7.5-ton lorry, reversed into place when the gang entered the building. Once the vault was open, the thieves wasted no time ransacking it.
They continue wheeling money that's in various cages onto the lorry. Most robberies last a matter of minutes. This was an hour and a quarter.
The staff member forced to help move the cages tried to throw a spanner in the works.
What he does, in fact, do is he loads it onto the lorry, but as the weight of the money makes the lorry go down, so it's making it very difficult for them to use this hydraulic forklift. And he knows this, but he doesn't tell them. It's a brave thing to do.
The lorry, in fact, then dropped under the weight, so they actually discarded that into the loading bay.
Millions of pounds were wheeled out of the depot as the staff lay helpless.
My hands were really uncomfortable. When I got past the point of no return, really, you got 50-50 choice to make. You can say something, you know, they're either going to take notice of you and do something about it, or you can say nothing and, you know, knowing that once they've gone, you're going to be in considerable pain and you can't do anything about it. So I took the decision to say something.
The cable ties, they're too tight. Loosen them,
I started shouting at them, you know, you can't leave my hands like this. You've got to sort my hands out.
But Alan's protest gave the gang another idea.
He cut me loose, and then he was going to re-tie me, but not as tight. And then the leader of the gang said, no, don't tie him up again, I've got a better idea. So he stood me up, and then he walked me from where I was standing around to a cage that we would store money in, and he told me to get into this cage.
They decide to lock all of the hostages within the cages that normally hold all the money. So they start to invite them to climb in initially. Those that can't climb in are physically lifted and put into the cages. The cages are then locked.
Staff had been bound for over an hour in crippling positions on the floor. Now, locked in cages, they had no means of escape.
They probably felt more claustrophobic than they were on the floor, because they were then really restricted with space.
They wheel all the cages together. The last thing you hear is one of the robbers shouting,
Let's rock and roll!
Comment for them, which clearly they thought was jokey, and these people were just absolutely terrified.
We just sat there for a little while, and someone started kicking at his cage. We thought, have they really gone? Have they really gone?